my God, my architect, creator of my soul, and potter of my inmost being. I come to you tonight because the house you built, this self of mine, feels small, unfinished, a project that pales in comparison to the mansions I see all around me. I know in my mind that your works are perfect, that you make no mistakes, but my heart, Lord, my heart lives in a constant state of dissatisfaction, of evaluation, of comparison. It is sick, and the sickness has a name, the poison of looking sideways. I come to you not to ask for more things, but to ask for new eyes that do not constantly stray to my neighbor's garden, to another's life, to the polished and curated image the world presents to me as the standard for success and happiness. My prayer today is a cry for help, a scream from a soul that is tired of measuring itself, tired of always feeling lacking, always a step behind, always less than. I am exhausted from running a race I don't remember starting, against competitors who don't even know I am competing. My first confession, Father, is that my first glance in the morning is rarely toward you. Before my feet even touch the floor, my hands reach for the small idol of glass and light that I keep by my bed, and there begins my daily ritual of self-flagellation. I dive into a river of other people's lives, an endless stream of achievements, perfect vacations, sculpted bodies, smiling families, professional successes, and vibrant spirituality. And every image, every post, every story is a small, poisoned arrow that strikes my self-worth. I see my colleague's promotion, and I feel a pang of bitter envy, which quickly morphs into self-deprecation. See, he is more competent, more dedicated. You don't work hard enough. I see a friend's happy family photo, and the voice of comparison whispers, their house is more beautiful. Their children seem happier. You are an inadequate parent. I see someone sharing a moment of deep spiritual connection, and I feel like a Pharisee, a second-rate believer. His faith is real. Yours is a performance. God speaks to him, but with you, he is silent. It is a torture I inflict upon myself, a vicious cycle from which I cannot seem to escape. I know it's a lie. I know I am comparing my behind-the-scenes footage with their highlight reel. I know that behind every smile there might be a tear, but knowing and feeling are two different oceans, and I am drowning in the ocean of feeling. This feeling of not being enough, Lord, is a heavy cloak I wear every day, and it has several layers. There is the layer of spiritual insufficiency. I look at the giants of the faith and even at my brothers and sisters in church, and I feel like a dwarf. My prayers seem childish, repetitive. My discipline in reading your word is inconsistent. My struggle with sin seems so much more intense and so much less victorious than that of others. I long for an intimacy with you like the one they describe, but my mind is so noisy, so full of the static of my own inadequacy that I can barely hear your whisper. I feel that I am constantly disappointing you, that I am an investment of yours that is not yielding the expected return. Then there is the layer of professional and material insufficiency. The world screams that our value lies in our success, our productivity, our net worth, and I have believed that lie. I look at the careers of others, at their progress, and I feel that I am stuck in time, that I have missed opportunities, that I am not ambitious enough, or perhaps that I just don't have the necessary talent. The joy for a friend's achievement is quickly suffocated by the poisonous question, and what about you? When will you reach that level? I live with a low-grade anxiety, a sense that I am always failing, always falling behind in a competition that devours its participants. I fight to be grateful for what I have, but gratitude is a fragile plant that is constantly trampled by the weed of comparison. And perhaps the most painful layer of all is that of personal insufficiency. It's not about what I do, but about who I am. Why did you make me this way, Lord? Why did you give me this personality, this appearance, these insecurities? Why do others seem to navigate life with such ease, with such charisma, with such self-confidence, while I feel as if I am always playing a role, always afraid of being discovered as a fraud? I read Psalm 139, which says, I was fearfully and wonderfully made, woven together in my mother's womb. And I want to believe it. I desperately want to believe it. But your words and my reality seem to be at war. How can I be wonderfully made if I feel so defective? How can I be your masterpiece masterpiece if I feel like a discarded draft. I wrestle with this dissonance. I feel ungrateful for questioning your work, which only adds to my guilt, but the feeling of being less than is so real, so present. It's as if everyone else was given an instruction manual for life and mine came with missing pages. The result of all this is a subtle paralysis. The fear of not being good enough stops me from trying new things. The comparison to the professionals stops me from enjoying my amateur talents. Envy stops me from genuinely celebrating the joy of others, which isolates me and shames me. I have built a prison for myself, and the bars are made of the images of other people. I live as a spectator of life, always evaluating, grading, and comparing, and never fully living the one life you have given me, my own. And I am tired, Lord, so tired of this inner tyranny. So my prayer today is a plea for liberation. I cannot break these chains alone. I have tried. I have told myself to stop comparing, but it is like telling a prisoner to simply walk through the walls. I need a divine intervention. I need a miracle in my perception. So I ask you, break the mirrors, silence the deafening noise of other people's lives in my mind. Turn off the screen that shows me a distorted reality. And please, for just one instant, help me to see myself as you see me. Not as the failure, the one left behind, the inadequate one, but as your child, beloved, chosen, unique, with a purpose that is mine alone, with a beauty that is mine alone, with a journey that needs no comparison to any other to have value. Give me a glimpse of that truth, Father. A glimpse is all I ask for to begin. My God, my liberator. I ask for a glimpse of your truth, because the lie I inhabit has become my reality. And as I remain here, in your presence, I begin to dissect the consequences of this spiritual sickness of mine. Comparison I see now is more than a bad habit. It is a thief, the most efficient thief of joy I have ever known. You give me a moment of contentment, a small blessing, a modest victory, and for an instant, my heart feels grateful and light. But then the poison enters. I celebrate a small achievement at work, but I open my phone and see someone in my circle announce a massive promotion, a success that completely overshadows my small light, and my joy dies. It turns to ash in my mouth. My success becomes, in my own eyes, a failure. I feel good about my body after a week of effort and discipline, but a single image of a perfect, sculpted and filtered body is enough to make me feel inadequate, misshapen. My small joy in my own health journey is annihilated. You give me a moment of peace with my family, a dinner filled with laughter, and I feel the warmth of your love in my home. But then I see the photos of other families on exotic trips, in perfectly decorated houses, with smiles that seem whiter, wider, and my peace is stolen by doubt. Am I offering enough? Is my family as happy as they could be? Comparison is a black hole that sucks all the light out of gratitude. It ensures that no matter what you give me, it will never be enough, because there will always be someone, somewhere, who seems to have more, who seems to be more. What a miserable life I have built for myself, Lord. A life where joy is forbidden to take root. And from this soil where joy will not grow, sprouts the ugliest of all weeds, envy. Oh, Father, what shame I feel to confess this. What shame to admit the darkness that moves in my heart. I want to be the person who rejoices with those who rejoice. I want, with all my strength, to celebrate the victories of my friends, of my brothers and sisters in Christ. And on the outside, I do it. I offer congratulations. I leave the supportive comment. I say, what a blessing. But on the inside, if I am brutally honest with you, as I am now, I often feel a pang of resentment, a small voice that asks, why him and not me? When will it be my turn? It is an ugly, acidic feeling that corrodes me from within. And the shame I feel for having this feeling only makes it worse. I feel like a hypocrite, a fraudulent Christian who preaches love but harbors the poison of envy in his heart. This silent envy poisons my relationships. It creates a subtle distance between me and those I should love and support unconditionally. I begin to avoid contact with certain people, not because they have wronged me, but because their success is too painful a mirror for my own sense of failure. I withdraw, I make excuses, and bitterness begins to grow in silence, like mold on the wall of a dark, damp room. Forgive me, God. Forgive me for this wickedness. Rip this root of bitterness out of me before it poisons everything it touches. Cleanse my heart of this envy that stops me from loving as you call me to love. The next consequence, which walks hand in hand with the others is paralysis. The fear of not being good enough when measured against the best freezes me. I have ideas, dreams, talents that you yourself have given me. But before I even take the first step to develop them, the voice of comparison is already killing them. Why start that project? So-and-so already did something similar and much better. Why share that piece you wrote? There are so many more talented writers. Why offer to serve in that area at church? There are people who are far more qualified. Perfectionism, which is just fear dressed up in work clothes, whispers that if I cannot be the best, it is better to be nothing at all. And so, I do nothing. I stay on the sidelines, watching others play the game of life, criticizing myself for not playing, without realizing that it is my own fear that keeps me seated. This constant comparison creates a self-fulfilling prophecy of failure. By convincing me that I am not good enough to try, it guarantees that I will never be good at anything, because excellence is born of practice, of trial and error, of the courage to be a beginner. And I am killing my own potential, burying the talents you entrusted to me, not out of laziness, but out of fear. A fear born of comparison. I am disobeying your call on my life, not out of rebellion, but out of a false and paralyzing humility that masquerades as realism. And now, Lord, you take me deeper. You force me to look at the root of all this. And the root is idolatry. I confess, my Father, that I have been looking for my worth, my identity, my justification in all the wrong sources. I have made an idol of the approval of others. What people think of me has become more important than what you think of me. I live for their applause and I die in their silence or their criticism. I have given fallible human beings the power that belongs only to you, the power to name me, to define me, to value me. And so I live like a slave, always trying to please a crowd of masters with contradictory expectations. I have also made an idol of professional and material success. I have believed the world's lie that my value is equal to my job title, my salary, the size of my house. And in worshiping this idol, I can never have enough, because the ruler of success is always changing, always being raised by those ahead of me. And I grow tired, frustrated, and desperate, trying to quench a thirst with salt water. I have even made an idol of image, of appearance, and what is worse, of spirituality. I have wanted to look like a good believer, a man of God, a woman of prayer, not just out of love for you, but for the status it conferred on me in the community. And in doing so, I turned my own faith into a performance, and your grace into a prop. I confess this pantheon of idols that I have built in my heart. They are the true thieves of my joy and my peace. They are the cruel masters who demand constant sacrifices and are never satisfied. And this idolatrous lifestyle profoundly affects my relationship with you. When I look at you, instead of seeing a father who loves me with a unique and unconditional love, I see a cosmic judge, a distributor of talents and blessings who seems to favor others over me. My prayer, instead of being a dialogue of love and trust, becomes a list of complaints, a negotiation, a comparison even of your generosity. Lord, why did you give him 5 talents and me only 1? Why did you open that door for her while mine remains closed? I put you on the witness stand and accuse you of partiality, of injustice. I become the older brother in the parable, bitter and resentful in the field, unable to enter the party and enjoy the Father's presence because I am too busy comparing my inheritance with my brother's. What a tragedy, to be in the Father's house and live like an orphan, to have access to all the riches of your grace and to feel like a pauper. Father, forgive me. Forgive my idolatry. Dethrone these false gods from my heart and teach me patiently to find my value not in what I do, not in what I have, not in what others think of me, but only in this: I am yours. And that has to be enough. Please make that be enough. My Father, I ask that being yours would be enough. And as these words echo in the silent chamber of my soul, I understand that this is not a feeling I can manufacture, but a revelation I must receive. I have spent so much time looking outward, studying the blueprints of other people's lives, that I forgot to ask for the plans for my own construction. I have treated my life as a defective product to be fixed, rather than a mystery to be discovered with you. So my prayer changes. I no longer ask to be like others. I ask that you would reveal to me the unique beauty of what you created me to be. Lord, show me the thread of gold that only my life can weave into your great tapestry. Show me the musical note that only my soul can sing in your eternal symphony. I have spent my life trying to play like a violin, fast, sharp, and brilliant, because the violins always seem to have the lead role. But what if you made me to be a cello, with a deeper, more melancholy sound, less flashy, but just as essential for the harmony of the piece. What if, in trying to be a violin, I not only frustrate myself, but also rob your orchestra of the unique sound I was created to make? Help me to fall in love with my own sheet music, the one you wrote for me. Help me to accept my tone, my rhythm, my melody. Perhaps my journey is not a 100-meter dash, but a marathon of endurance. Perhaps my calling is not to build a skyscraper, but to cultivate a small hidden garden that feeds few but feeds them well. Free me from the tyranny of a single model of success, of a single way to be holy, of a single way to be valuable. Open my eyes to the beauty of diversity in your kingdom, and give me the courage to embrace my unique place within it. To do this, Lord, I need a new discipline, a new spiritual practice. I must declare war on comparison, and my primary weapon in this war must be gratitude, an intentional, specific, and militant gratitude. Teach me the discipline of naming your gifts in my life. Force me by your Spirit to turn my gaze from what I do not have and to focus on what I have already received. And I don't just mean the big things. Help me to see your grace in the details, in the taste of coffee in the morning, in the sunlight streaming through the window, in a kind conversation, in the health that allows me to get out of bed. Because comparison thrives on generalities, but it dies in the details. When I see my life in detail, I am forced to see your hand, your care, your constant provision. I want to start a new kind of accounting. Instead of counting the blessings of others, I want to learn to count my own. I want to fill the journal of my mind with a record of your faithfulness to me, so that when the temptation to feel poor arrives, I can open this journal and remember my immense wealth in you. Gratitude must become my new reflex, my new instinct, the first thought in the morning and the last at night. May my heart become a ground so cultivated by gratitude that the bitter seed of comparison finds no soil in which to germinate. And here, Lord, I ask for the greatest of miracles, a supernatural transformation of my heart. It is not enough to stop comparing myself. I want to reach the point where I can genuinely celebrate others. This is my most audacious request. When I see the blessing in my brother's life, in my sister's life, let my first reflex not be the pang of envy, but an explosion of praise. Praise to you, the giver of all good gifts. Help me to understand in practice what it means to be part of one body. In the body of Christ, if the hand is blessed, the eye should not feel envy. It should celebrate, because the blessing of the hand serves the entire body. If a runner runs faster, they inspire the others. If a singer has a more beautiful voice, they elevate the worship of all. Rip this spirit of competition out of me and replace it with a spirit of collaboration and communal celebration. I want my first question, upon seeing someone's success, not to be, what about me? But rather, how can I honor God for this? How can I support my brother or sister? Oh, the freedom there would be in that. The lightness. It would be like taking off a heavy suit of armor and finally being able to dance. It would be the death of my ego and the birth of a true communal love. This is the sweetest fruit of the liberation I seek. The ability to look at someone else's light, not to feel that I am in shadow, but to rejoice in the brightness and to thank you for lighting one more lamp in the world. So, my commitment to you, starting today, is to begin to walk differently. It is a conscious decision to step down from the stage of the unending audition I have placed myself on. I do not need to compete for a role in your kingdom. You have already given me one, written especially for me. It is a commitment to practice a digital fast, to step away from the sources that feed my sickness, to choose silence and your word instead of the noise and the images of the world. It is a decision to begin investing in the talents you have given me, however small they may seem, not to prove my worth, but as an act of worship and good stewardship. It is a commitment to present myself to the world more honestly, accepting who I am, instead of projecting an image of who I wish I were. And when the voice of comparison inevitably whispers again, my commitment is not to entertain it, not to offer it a chair, but to immediately bring it to you in prayer, to bring the lie into your light, so that it will be exposed and lose its power. I know this will not be a one-day battle. It is the work of a lifetime, but for the first time, I feel I am not fighting alone. I feel I am fighting from a place of acceptance, not rejection. My final prayer is one of consecration. I consecrate my unique life to you, my specific journey, my particular gifts and my weaknesses too. I accept them as coming from your hand, and I offer them back to you for your glory. I no longer want to be like anyone else. I just want to be the fullest and truest version of myself, the version you dreamed for me from eternity. And in that, and only in that, I will find my rest and my peace. Amen. Did this prayer resonate with you? Please share, leave a comment, and subscribe for more messages of faith and hope.